Have you ever felt like you give so much to others, yet still feel empty inside? No matter how hard you try to please everyone, something inside you remains unfulfilled. If so, you're not alone, and this video may be exactly what your soul has been waiting for. In a world that constantly tells us to give, serve, and sacrifice, we've been conditioned to believe that prioritizing ourselves is selfish. But what if I told you that the exact opposite is true? What if putting yourself first is the very key to unlocking peace, purpose, and authentic happiness? This video dives deep into the powerful teachings of Carl Jung to uncover the truth about self-prioritization. You'll discover why your discomfort, your exhaustion, and even your chaos are not signs of failure, but signals from your soul asking for change. By the end, you'll understand how to break free from toxic patterns, silence the inner critic, and step fully into a life that reflects who you truly are. If you've ever felt lost, undervalued, or emotionally drained, this video could be the turning point. Stay with us until the end, because what you're about to hear has the power to transform everything. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. The very first step toward real, lasting change is to listen. And, truly, deeply, soulfully listen to that quiet discomfort you've been pushing aside, that nagging dissatisfaction that whispers to you in the silence. It's so easy to numb ourselves with distractions, endless scrolling, overworking, pleasing others, but those things only push the truth further into the shadows. Stop for a moment, breathe, be still, and allow yourself to feel what you've been avoiding. Because buried underneath that discomfort is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's your truth crying out to be heard. It's the unfiltered, untouched core of who you are aching to be seen, understood, and honored. And to get to that truth, you must prioritize yourself. Not occasionally, not when it's convenient, but wholly, consistently, unapologetically. You have to be willing to make yourself an absolute priority, because no one else can do it for you. Just imagine how radically different your life would look if you lived every day in alignment with your needs, your desires, and your soul's calling. What if every single decision, big or small, was rooted in what made you feel alive? Not what others expect, not what keeps the peace, but what lights a fire inside you. That kind of life isn't selfish, it's sacred. And yes, for many, it might feel impossible at first. We've been so deeply conditioned to believe that putting ourselves first is wrong. From a young age, we're taught that goodness means sacrifice, that love is proven by self-neglect, that our worth is tied to how much we give and how little we ask for in return. But that narrative is broken. And while it's true that helping others is a beautiful expression of humanity, doing so while abandoning your essence isn't noble, it's self-erasure. Carl Jung spoke about the need to integrate all parts of ourselves, especially the ones we push away, the ones we label as too much, too emotional, too different. Ironically, it's those very parts, the ones we suppress the most, that are begging for our attention. They are the parts that carry our authenticity, our wildness, and our depth. And when we deny them, we create an internal disconnection that doesn't go away, it festers. It shows up in draining relationships, in careers that slowly eat away at our joy, in that lingering feeling that something is missing, even when life looks fine from the outside. And here's the hard truth, the one that stings. The longer you ignore your true self, the louder the emptiness becomes. Jung was right when he said, there is no greater burden than living a life that isn't authentic, because pretending is exhausting. Performing is soul-crushing. Living a life designed to please others while your spirit withers. That's not living, it's surviving. To truly prioritize yourself is to sit down with your shadows, to face those uncomfortable parts of you, not to fight them, but to befriend them, because they aren't enemies, they're messengers. They're the parts of you that need healing, not rejection. And if you don't do this, if you don't make peace with who you are, you'll spend your entire life waiting for someone else to do it for you. Let's be real. The only person who will walk with you from your first breath to your last is you. So if you don't prioritize your well-being, your dreams, your healing, who will? There's a huge misconception that prioritizing yourself means being selfish, or that it means saying no to everyone else. But that's not what this is about. Prioritizing yourself is about finally saying yes to you. Yes to rest. Yes to freedom. Yes to pursuing what sets your soul on fire. Yes to being around people who see you and value you not for what you do for them, but for who you are. Your time, your energy, your love, these are sacred currencies, and they should never be spent on people or things that don't align with who you are becoming. Jung described a process called individuation, a journey of becoming whole, of returning to yourself. And it doesn't happen by accident. It's a conscious, intentional walk into the unknown. It takes grit. It takes heart. And above all, it takes courage. Because let's be honest, choosing yourself isn't always welcomed with open arms. Some people won't understand. Some may resent the version of you that no longer plays small for their comfort. But that discomfort you may cause in others, that's not your burden to carry. Jung would remind us that this is the cost of authenticity. And while it may cost you some relationships, some comfort, and some false peace, it gives you, and that is everything. And here's the beauty. When you truly start valuing yourself, the universe responds in kind. It's almost mystical. People who once drained you begin to fade. In their place, new connections emerge, people who resonate with your frequency, who reflect your growth, who don't want a filtered version of you, but the real you. This is not a coincidence. Jung called this synchronicity. These random but deeply meaningful events show up when you're finally aligned with your truth. Synchronicity isn't magic, it's confirmation. It's the universe whispering, yes, you're finally on the right path. But before you reach that place, there's one requirement: you must be honest with yourself. Unflinchingly honest. Ask yourself, what relationships, what habits, what beliefs are standing in the way of my growth? What am I clinging to that no longer reflects who I am or who I'm becoming? These are tough questions, painful even, but necessary, because real freedom comes after truth. And truth only comes when we're willing to face ourselves fully, not just the pretty parts, but the painful ones too. Jung once said, "We cannot change anything unless we accept it first." And what a powerful truth that is. Because acceptance isn't passive, it's one of the bravest acts of self-love there is. But before we can accept anything, we have to confront it. Face it. Look directly into the parts of our lives and of ourselves that we've spent years avoiding. That takes courage most people are never taught to cultivate. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. One of the greatest battles we face is the fear of letting go. We cling so tightly to what's familiar, even if it's painful, even if it's slowly breaking us, because the unknown feels far more frightening. That job drains us. That relationship no longer brings peace. That version of ourselves we've outgrown. We hold on because at least we know it. But knowing something doesn't mean it belongs to you anymore. Jung taught that true growth, the kind that changes everything, only happens when we dare to explore those unknowns inside ourselves. And that fear you feel, that tension in your chest, it's not a stop sign. It's not your soul telling you to turn back. It's an invitation, a call to move forward. Because beyond that fear, just on the other side, is the version of yourself you've always longed to become, the free you, the whole you, the deeply alive you. When you begin to prioritize yourself, everything begins to shift. And I don't just mean internally, you start to feel it in your world, in your relationships, in the way people treat you, and in the opportunities that appear or disappear. You're not just healing emotional wounds. You're rewriting the rules of your life. You stop settling. You stop entertaining people who can't see your worth or respect your time. You stop giving energy to things that leave you feeling smaller, depleted, or invisible. And most importantly, you start setting boundaries not to push people away, but to protect the parts of you that are finally waking up. Because Jung said it best, we cannot give to others what we do not give to ourselves. If you're running on empty, if your heart is bruised and your spirit tired, how can you love anyone with wholeness? How can you give peace, support, or compassion when you haven't given those things to yourself? Prioritizing yourself also means daring to reconnect with dreams you may have buried long ago. Think about it. How many years have you chased goals that weren't even yours? Lived according to someone else's expectations, your parents, society, a partner, even well-meaning friends. But now, for the first time, you have the chance to stop and ask, what do I truly want? What would make me come alive again? That is such a sacred question, and no one else can answer it for you. Your essence, your truth is something only you can define. And when you begin to live in alignment with that truth, that's when life starts to feel meaningful again. Not perfect, but real. This journey isn't straight or smooth. You'll have days where you feel on top of the world, where everything seems to click. But you'll also face days where the doubt creeps in, where old voices try to pull you back into old patterns. And that's okay. That's part of the work. What matters most is that you keep walking. Every tiny step you take toward your authenticity is a quiet revolution. Every time you choose truth over fear, you not only transform your life, you light the way for someone else who's still searching in the dark. Make no mistake, when you choose to make yourself a priority, you are not just healing. You are rising. You are claiming a life that's rooted in truth, not in performance. You are choosing deep transformation over surface-level peace. Now hear this. Prioritizing yourself doesn't mean being flawless. It doesn't mean having all the answers or never needing help. What it does mean is being radically honest with yourself, listening to your body, your emotions, your soul, honoring your limits, owning your needs, and refusing to apologize for being human. Jung taught that the journey to wholeness begins with our shadows, the parts of ourselves we've rejected, buried, or learned to hide. And let's be honest, most of us are walking around carrying shame for parts of us that were never wrong to begin with. Maybe it's your sensitivity, your boldness, your need for space, your voice, your creative fire, your emotions. Maybe it's the part of you that was told to calm down, toughen up, or be more realistic. So you tucked it away, trying to be what the world wanted. But those shadows, as uncomfortable as they may be, they are not your enemies. They are your forgotten power, your hidden wisdom. They hold the very pieces of you that once embraced will make you whole. And the moment you stop running from those parts and instead sit with them, love them, integrate them, you open the door to a deeper kind of freedom. Because healing doesn't mean becoming someone else. It means remembering who you've always been. Jung explained something profoundly liberating, that when we integrate our shadows, the hidden, uncomfortable parts of ourselves, we don't just find peace. We unlock a wellspring of energy and creativity that was once buried beneath fear, shame, and silence. It's like reclaiming pieces of our soul that were stolen by judgment, criticism, or cultural conditioning. And once those pieces return to us, we become whole in a way that feels both foreign and deeply familiar. Just imagine, what would your life look like if you weren't afraid to simply be yourself? What if you could walk into a room and speak your truth with calm confidence, never second-guessing your voice, your needs, or your presence? What if you could exist without constantly shrinking, apologizing, or editing yourself just to make others comfortable? That kind of freedom, it's not a fantasy. It's the natural result of prioritizing yourself. When you finally embrace all of who you are, yes, even the messy, misunderstood, imperfect parts, you stop performing and start living. You begin to operate from a place of deep authenticity, and something remarkable happens. Life begins to meet you where you truly are. The right people find you, the right opportunities unfold, and the right experiences gravitate toward your truth. No, this path won't be perfect. You'll stumble, you'll question yourself. You'll have moments where doubt creeps in and whispers, "Are you sure this is the right decision?" But those moments aren't signs that you're failing, they're invitations to keep choosing yourself again and again. And each time you do, you deepen your relationship with the one person who matters most in this lifetime. Your confidence strengthens, your self-respect grows. And with each step, you walk closer to wholeness, not the kind that comes from pleasing others, but the kind that rises from radical self-acceptance. Still, let's not ignore the elephant in the room: rejection. One of the biggest fears we face when we begin to honor ourselves is the fear of losing others. We wonder, what if I set a boundary and they walk away? What if choosing what's best for me pushes someone I love out of my life? That fear is raw. It's real. And it's rooted in a very human need to be loved and accepted. But here's the truth. Jung so beautifully illuminated, the relationships worth keeping, the ones that truly nourish our souls, are the ones that embrace our authenticity, not resent it. So, if someone leaves because you decided to prioritize your mental health, your peace, and your truth, then as painful as it may feel, that person was not meant to walk with you into your next chapter. And that's not a loss. It's a divine redirection, a space being cleared for someone, or something more aligned with the real you. Because prioritizing yourself doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It simply means you stop abandoning yourself in the process. You learn to create balance, a sacred harmony between your well-being and the needs of those around you. And when you do that, something beautiful begins to unfold. You stop showing up from a place of depletion and exhaustion. You start showing up from a place of wholeness. You give love not out of obligation, but from overflow. You bring presence, not pressure. And that kind of energy transforms relationships. It breathes life into your connections with others. This isn't just about improving your life, it's about elevating the quality of your relationships, your work, your peace, your joy. When you finally prioritize yourself, everything starts to change. You begin to notice shifts in the dynamics around you. Conversations that once left you drained now feel lighter, or they fade away entirely. People who used to pull you into cycles of guilt or manipulation either evolve with you or exit your life, and that's not a coincidence. That's growth. That's spiritual alignment. That's what Jung meant when he said that, as we change internally, the outer world shifts to match it. Relationships are mirrors. They reflect on what we feel about ourselves. If you're constantly doubting your worth, you'll attract people who doubt it too. If you don't value your time, others won't either. But the moment you start valuing yourself genuinely, unapologetically, you create a new energetic standard. And the people around you respond to that vibration. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Some will embrace your evolution. Others will resist it. And when they do, it's important to remember that resistance is not about you. It's about them. Jung would say these reactions are projections, their fears, insecurities, and wounds being cast onto you. Don't carry what isn't yours. Don't shrink just to keep someone else comfortable. At the end of the day, this journey of self-prioritization isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about coming home to yourself. It's about choosing to honor your truth, even when it shakes the ground you've stood on for years. It's about stepping into the unknown with trembling hands and a brave heart. But often, the greatest resistance doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. That small, persistent voice in your mind might whisper, "Who am I to put myself first? Don't I owe it to others to keep sacrificing? Isn't it selfish to choose myself?" That voice isn't your intuition, it's your programming. It's the voice of a culture that glamorizes burnout and celebrates martyrdom. It's the echo of generations taught that love means self-abandonment and worth means productivity. But Jung reminds us again and again that you cannot give to others what you haven't yet given to yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't love from a place of lack. You can't heal others if you're still bleeding. So stop waiting for permission. You are allowed to prioritize yourself. You are allowed to listen to your needs. You are allowed to stop, to rest, to change, to grow. And in doing so, you are not betraying others. You are honoring your soul. And that, my friend, is one of the most courageous and sacred acts you will ever commit. Prioritizing yourself also means having the courage to release what no longer serves your spirit, what no longer resonates with the person you are becoming. This is not just about decluttering your environment, it's about detoxing your soul. It means walking away from toxic relationships that drain your energy, from habits that keep you small, and from beliefs that whisper lies about your worth. Letting go is one of the hardest things we'll ever do. We hold on, not because it's good for us, but because it's familiar. Even our pain can feel like home when we've known it long enough. It's the job that no longer inspires us, but pays the bills. The friend who constantly takes, but never gives. The belief that we must earn love by sacrificing ourselves. But Jung reminds us that real security doesn't come from clinging to what's known, it comes from deep, sacred alignment with your inner being. That's where your roots are. That's where your power lives. When you start trusting that quiet voice within, you realize that security isn't about control, it's about connection. And when you find the strength to release what no longer belongs in your life, something beautiful happens. You make space for the right things to find you. Just like in a garden, the weeds must be cleared for the flowers to bloom. Your soul is no different. It needs breathing room. It needs sunlight. It needs love. This process might sting at first. Letting go can feel like a loss. You may grieve old identities, old versions of yourself, or people who can no longer walk this path with you. But don't mistake that pain for failure. That ache is the stretching of your soul as it expands to hold something greater. And then the shift begins. You start attracting relationships that feel nourishing, safe, and reciprocal. You find opportunities that don't just pay the bills, but light a fire in your belly. You begin to experience life in color again. And most importantly, you begin to remember who you are underneath all the layers of self-betrayal. You come into the quiet, soul-shaking realization that you never had to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to earn the right to rest. You don't have to justify why your dreams matter. You don't need to seek permission to feel joy or set boundaries. You are worthy not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And that moment, that realization, it's life-altering because it frees you from the exhausting treadmill of external validation. It pulls you off the stage of constant performance, and it gives you the sacred permission to live on your terms for you, not for the approval of others. But let's be honest, this kind of transformation doesn't happen overnight. The path back to yourself is long, winding, and often messy. There will be days when you question everything. Days where old patterns creep back in and try to convince you to play small again. Days where fear shows up dressed as logic. But every single time you choose yourself, Every time you say no more to what hurts, and yes, to what heals, you take one more step toward wholeness. It may not feel like much in the moment, but trust me, it's everything. The small, quiet, consistent choices you make in private are what build your new reality. And even though this journey is internal, make no mistake, the impact ripples into every corner of your life. Your relationships shift. People start treating you differently because you are showing them how you expect to be treated. Your work becomes more aligned. Your health improves. Your spirit feels lighter. You begin to walk through the world with a sense of calm, quiet power. And then, for the first time, in what may feel like years, you exhale. Not just a shallow breath, but a deep, full-bodied sigh of relief, as if your soul is whispering, "Thank you. I've been waiting for this." This inner peace is not a luxury, it's your birthright. It doesn't mean everything around you will be perfect. Life will still have challenges, pain, loss, and uncertainty. But the difference now is you. You're no longer shaken by every storm. You no longer abandon yourself at the first sign of tension. You stay rooted, grounded, and stand ready in your truth. Carl Jung taught us that true power does not come from controlling the world around us. It comes from understanding and honoring the world within us. That's where your real authority lies, not in how others see you, but in how deeply you know yourself. When you begin to live from a place of authenticity, something profound shifts. Life becomes simpler, not because the chaos disappears, but because you no longer participate in your distortion. You stop twisting and contorting yourself to fit into boxes that were never built for you. You stop trying to be everything to everyone and start being everything to yourself. And that clarity, that kind of freedom, it changes the game. You begin to focus on what truly matters: your purpose, your passions, your peace. Not the noise, not the pressure, not the expectations, just you, as you are meant to be. Jung spoke of the self as the very core of our psyche, the sacred center that balances our conscious awareness with the vast, mysterious realm of the unconscious. It is the deepest, most authentic expression of who we are beyond titles, roles, or the masks we wear. And every time you choose to prioritize yourself, you're not just doing something nice for your mental health, you're engaging in an intimate act of spiritual reconnection with that self. It's an acknowledgement, a quiet but powerful declaration. My life has value, not because of what I achieve, not because of what others think of me, but because I exist. That single truth, when fully embraced, is life-changing. It's like unclipping the chains from your soul. It breathes oxygen into dreams you thought had died. It gives you the courage to make decisions that once seemed unthinkable, like walking away from a relationship that no longer brings you joy, or finally pursuing that long-abandoned dream that still burns quietly in your heart. But let's be clear, prioritizing yourself doesn't always mean flipping your life upside down overnight. Sometimes, the most radical act of self-love is found in the quiet, consistent decisions you make every single day. It's in saying no when your soul needs space. It's in allowing yourself to rest without guilt. It's in buying that book, taking that walk, signing up for that class, not because anyone told you to, but because you matter enough to invest in these seemingly small actions. They're not small at all. They're the bricks that rebuild the foundation of a life that finally reflects who you truly are, not who others expect you to be. Little by little, these choices shape a new reality, one rooted in alignment, not performance. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment on number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Jung's concept of individuation speaks to this journey, the sacred unfolding of the person you were always meant to become. It's not a finish line. It's not a place you arrive at and declare, "I'm done." It's a lifelong journey of returning to yourself again and again, shedding what doesn't belong to you, and standing more confidently in your truth with each passing day. And here's the beautiful paradox. As you change, so does your world. Jung believed that the relationship between our inner and outer worlds is unbreakably intertwined. When you begin to heal internally, when you make space for your real voice, your real desires, your external life begins to respond. Not always loudly. Sometimes it's subtle. A new person enters your life who feels like home. A job offer appears that aligns with your passions. Or maybe it's just that your mornings start to feel calmer, more yours. And yes, as you rise, some people will quietly drift away. That's okay. They were part of your old vibration, your past chapter. And now, as you raise your frequency, as you evolve into a clearer, fuller version of yourself, new souls will arrive, people who see you, who match your energy, who celebrate the real you without trying to edit or contain you. You may notice clarity setting in decisions that once left you spinning in self-doubt now feel lighter and easier. That's not an accident. That's the result of listening to your needs and trusting your inner wisdom. It's the reward of finally asking yourself, what do I need? And honoring the answer. Because when you make yourself a priority, when you stop abandoning your own heart just to be liked, accepted, or useful, something inside of you shifts. And that shift, it's permanent. It's irreversible. Suddenly, things that once felt impossible now make perfect sense. Goals that once seemed far away feel like they've been waiting for you all along. You come to the sacred realization that you never needed external validation. You don't need to twist yourself into someone else's idea of enough. You don't need to chase approval from a world that doesn't even know your soul, because the greatest power you could ever hope to find has been inside you all along. Carl Jung left us with this timeless truth. The power you seek is already within you. Your task is not to earn it, but to reclaim it, to explore it, to hold every part of yourself in love, even the pieces you once rejected, even the ones you were told were too much or not enough. This path is not easy. It will stretch you. It will test you. It will call you to confront the very parts of yourself you tried to forget. But make no mistake, it is the most rewarding journey you will ever take. Because when you choose to prioritize yourself, you are not just saying yes to a better life. You are saying yes to your life. A life that is rooted in truth, built on self-respect and anchored in emotional freedom. And here's the part that brings tears to my eyes every time. Your choice to heal. Your choice to grow. Your choice to stand in your right. It doesn't end with you. It radiates. It inspires. It ripples outward like a wave. Because when one person chooses to live authentically, they give silent permission for others to do the same. Your courage becomes a beacon for those still lost in self-doubt. Your healing becomes a path for someone who's still learning how to begin. You become living proof that it's possible to break free from the chains of shame and fear, and that it's never too late to come home to yourself. So think about it deeply, with your hand over your heart. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? One built on self-abandonment, or one born from radical self-love? Because when you change, when you finally honor who you are, you don't just transform your own life. You light the way for someone else to find theirs. So, now that you've taken this journey with me, I want to ask you, what have you learned? What part of this message spoke directly to your heart? Maybe it was the reminder that your worth is not something you earn. It's something you already have. Maybe it was the realization that it's okay, even necessary, to walk away from people or patterns that no longer honor who you're becoming. Whatever it is, I invite you to take a moment and reflect. What is one thing you've learned today that you will begin to practice in your own life? It could be setting a boundary, reclaiming a forgotten dream, or simply choosing to rest without guilt. Whatever your truth is, I'd love for you to share it in the comments below. Not just for you, but for someone else who might need to hear exactly what you have to say. If you liked this video, please leave your comment below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Together, we are creating a space where truth, healing, and authenticity can flourish. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing me. I'll see you in the next video.